Rain hammered the windshield, as if the sky itself was grieving alongside him. Jack clutched the steering wheel of his worn-out pickup, its headlights barely slicing through the heavy curtain of rainfall ahead. Another job interview. Another empty promise of "we'll be in touch." His clothes were still damp from the fabric of the waiting room chair, and his wallet held nothing but a worn photo of his little girl. In the back seat, 6-year-old Lily slept peacefully, her small hands wrapped around her beloved stuffed bunny. Jack caught her reflection in the rearview mirror, his gaze filled with aching love and quiet despair. She was his whole world now. Since losing his wife 2 years ago, everything else had unraveled. The house vanished. The job disappeared. The savings drained. Even his sense of self had started to slip away. But Lily, she remained. Always. His grip on the wheel tightened as he turned onto a winding, familiar road leading to their cramped one-bedroom rental. The wipers squealed across the glass, marking time like a somber rhythm to his unraveling life. Each day felt like a race against the rising tide of hopelessness. And he couldn't let Lily see how close he was to the edge. The heater coughed weakly, offering barely any warmth to the chilled cabin. Jack sighed, watching his breath fog up the windshield. He didn't know how much longer he could keep doing this. The world felt cold, distant, but for Lily's sake, he refused to surrender. Not yet. And just as he thought the night couldn't get any heavier, something caught his eye. There, on the side of the road, something strange flickered through the trees, barely visible through the downpour and shadows. A flash of white. He hit the brakes. The truck skidded on the muddy shoulder and came to a stop. Jack's heart raced, not from fear, but from instinct. Something wasn't right. He left Lily asleep in the truck and stepped into the storm, his boots sinking into the soaked earth. At first, it looked like a scarecrow, or maybe some kind of mannequin. But as he got closer, his breath caught in his throat. A woman stood there, soaked to the skin, chained to a tree. Her wedding dress, once beautiful, now hung in tatters, muddy and torn. Her bare feet trembled. Her arms shook. Her face was streaked with tears and dirt. But her eyes, wide, terrified, locked onto his with a silent, desperate cry for help. Jack froze. His chest tightened with disbelief. "Are you okay?" he called out, barely audible above the roar of the rain. No answer, no movement. He looked around. No car, no house, no sign of anyone else. Just her. Alone. Abandoned. And suddenly, everything he'd been carrying, the overdue bills, the empty cupboards, the crushing weight of raising a child alone, all of it faded. Whoever she was, whatever had happened. She needed someone, and Jack couldn't just walk away. He shrugged off his coat and gently draped it over her shaking shoulders. "You're safe now," he whispered. He didn't yet realize that, in saving her, he was saving himself too. Jack didn't sleep that night. He couldn't. After cutting through the chain with an old rusted tool from his truck, he brought the woman home, soaked, silent, and clearly exhausted. Lily stirred when they came in, rubbing her sleepy eyes, but she didn't say a word. She simply watched as Jack laid the woman gently on the couch and wrapped her in blankets. She was barely conscious, murmuring only one word before sleep overtook her again. Eliza. Their home was tiny, barely enough for the two of them. Peeling. Paint clung to the walls. The fridge buzzed louder than it should, and the space heater only worked when it felt generous. Jack had no business bringing someone else into their fragile little world, but something in his heart told him he already had. There was something in Eliza's eyes, raw, wounded, yet piercing, that slipped straight past Jack's own pain. He couldn't look away. By morning, she sat quietly at the kitchen table, still silent, but more aware. Jack poured a cup of coffee and gently offered it to her. She gave a small nod, her hands trembling as she accepted the warm mug. In the days that followed, words remained scarce. She answered questions, but always with caution, short, guarded replies. But her silence wasn't empty. She contributed in soft, steady ways, folding clothes, tightening the loose hinge on the cabinet, even mending Lily's beloved stuffed bunny. No one asked her to. Lily was the first to trust her. One morning, Jack walked into the living room to find them on the floor. Eliza quietly coloring beside Lily, who giggled as she showed off her crayon creation. Eliza gave a shy smile. It was the first real laughter Jack had heard in months. And just like that, the air inside the house began to change. It felt lighter, less burdened, less broken. Jack couldn't quite explain it, but something was slowly healing, something delicate and real. Eliza wasn't just existing, she was helping their shattered little world feel whole again. That night, long after Lily had drifted off to sleep, the house was blanketed in a hush only night brings. Jack sat alone at the kitchen table sipping lukewarm tea. Eliza stood at the window, staring out at the wind dancing through the trees. Then softly, her voice broke the silence. I was supposed to get married that day. Her voice cracked, dry and brittle. Jack looked up, his chest tightening. I didn't love him, she continued. I didn't even know him. Her eyes shone with unshed tears. My family said love was a luxury. They said duty came first, honor. She turned to face him, her expression carved from grief. I ran, she whispered, but they found me. Said I brought shame. So they chained me up, left me there to think about what I'd done. Jack's stomach turned. He sat in stunned silence, heart swelling with fury and sorrow. I thought no one would ever come, she said, eyes fixed on the floor. That maybe I wasn't worth saving. Jack rose slowly. He walked over and placed a hand gently on her trembling shoulder. You were never too far gone, he said, voice thick with emotion. You were just waiting for someone who saw your worth. That was all it took. Tears came. First, hers, then his. And in that shared silence, something passed between them. Not pity, not rescue. Recognition. Two fractured hearts beginning to believe that maybe, just maybe, they still deserved love. 1 year later, the house was still small, but now it overflowed with warmth. Sunlight poured through spotless windows as laughter echoed from the kitchen walls. Jack stood at the stove flipping pancakes, the weight he once carried now replaced by a calm, quiet joy. Across the room, Eliza sat at the table, gently braiding Lily's hair. Her touch was soft, her smile effortless. Jack now had a steady job, maintenance at a local school. It wasn't glamorous, but it paid the bills. And for the first time in years, he felt proud. Eliza, the same woman once silenced by shame, had become a powerful voice for others. She volunteered at a nearby shelter, guiding women out of the darkness she once knew too well. Her story wasn't just hers anymore. It became hope for those standing at the edge. Lily beamed whenever she introduced her. "This is my mom," she'd say, like the title had always belonged to Eliza. And in all the ways that mattered, it had that night. After Lily was tucked into bed, Jack and Eliza sat on the porch in silence, hands gently intertwined. They watched fireflies blink against the backdrop of the dark. There weren't many words. They didn't need any, because deep down, they both understood. They weren't meant to rescue one another. They simply chose love, even when broken. And in that choice, they discovered something unshakable. Sometimes, it's the broken who save the broken. And when love is given freely by those who've lost everything, it finds its way back as a miracle.